Hello my good friends and welcome back to the shop. I'm Buck Weezer and you've tuned to Buck's Small Engine DIY on YouTube. Today we're going to work on a machine that's almost as old as I am. Do you think we'll be able to get it up and running after it's been sitting for several years? We're going to find out, so stay tuned. Well, here it is. It's an old rototiller, Troy-Bilt, horse, Garden Way Manufacturing. These are a little bit hard to read. Here's the serial number. That's not legible any longer. Operating instructions are still there. And this is quite a horse, all right. Quite a machine. So we're looking at a 7 horsepower Kohler engine, and this is back from the days when horsepower meant something. I'm thinking this is about 1970. I can't be too sure. Maybe there's a way to look up these numbers to find that out. But it's a model K161T. And there's the information on it. And we got to see if we can get this running. Looks like at some point it had the rope starter mechanism replaced. Of course, this is not electronic ignition. It's going to be points and condenser ignition. And I had peered into the gas tank, and I don't know if you'll be able to see it real well, but it doesn't look too bad. I see a little bit of crud down in there. You probably can't see that, but it doesn't look like it's rusted out or anything, so that's good. And yeah, this is a beefy machine, and I think it's going to be worth fixing, and I don't expect it to be that much trouble to get it up and running again. I do have the air cleaner that's been taken off of it, but I do have it. And the owner told me he thinks it's going to need some carburetor work, which is entirely possible if it's been sitting for several years. He told me it's been sitting 4 or 5 years, but if he's anything like me, the passing of time has probably been longer than that since it ran, but we'll see. I think what I want to do to start with is not tear into the carburetor. I just want to get a spark plug tester and see if we got spark. So let's try that, because it'd be pointless to mess with the carburetor if we don't have spark. So that's where we're going to start. So let's get going. Alright, so I got one of these inline spark testers that flash, the little light bulb flashes. Let me zoom in on that. I'll pull this starter rope a time or two and see if that'll flash for us. Yeah, there it is. There we go. So I see a couple of flashes every now and then, but not consistently. All right, I'm trying a different spark tester here. It's the same style where the bulb lights up. It's not as easy to see on this one, but I see it more consistently. So I'm going to proceed. I feel like I've got spark. We're gonna move on and see if it'll pop for us on a little bit of starting fluid. All right, let's spray a little starting fluid into the throat of the carburetor and try that. See if it will lick off for us just for a little bit. Felt like it wanted to there. Let's try a little more. I don't have any reason to suspect this spark plug, but I don't have any reason to trust it either. So perhaps it'd be worth our while to try a new one. See, we got one of these. I don't have a J8C, but I got a J19LM, and we're going to try that. All right. All right, let's try it again. Okay, so that's what we were hoping to hear. All right, so we got compression. We're getting spark. It wants to run. Now we got to work on the fuel system. And I think what I want to do is take a little time to rinse out this fuel tank. Like I said, it's got some crud in there. I'll add some fuel. I'll separate this inlet line from the carburetor, and we'll just drain out some of that crud. You know, before I add fuel and try to run it, I think I do want to take a peek inside this carburetor. Because if it hasn't run a while and old gas, especially if it was ethanol gas, is evaporated in there, it could be kind of a mess. So let's just start by taking down the bowl. That's pretty easy with a 1/2-inch socket. And just see what it's like in there. Bowl nut doesn't look too bad. I'll try to salvage that gasket. You know, that doesn't really look too bad. Probably worth cleaning it out a little bit. And honestly, probably need to clean it out just to satisfy the owner of this, since he was convinced that the problem was carburetor. So maybe we should go ahead and just take it off, give it a cleaning, make sure it's good to go. We just have to disconnect the fuel line. Linkage here, 2 bolts in the back. And that's really going to be all there is to it. And then we'll be able to take a little better look at it. Okay, so we're here over on the workbench with the carburetor, and I'm glad I took it apart, or took it down. It's not completely apart yet, but I observed that the needle was kind of stuck in there, so we had to free that up. That's no big deal. Here's the float, and I hold this up to my ear and shake it. I can hear, it sounds like there's a little bit of fuel in there. I shouldn't hear that. So that makes me think possibly this has a hole somewhere, and I got to try to get a replacement. The bowl looks okay, it just needs to be cleaned. The gasket looks okay. The nut looks okay. I'm going to try to take this guy off. I think this is the main jet across the top here. And he comes out with the spring. Probably need to clean him out. Screwdriver can take out this. Well, this is just the adjustment for the throttle. Here's the low speed jet. That can come out. So I'm able to clean this, but I do need to see if I can find a rebuild kit or at least a new float. I think the other components would be fine. This gasket here, intake gasket's chewed up. Be nice if I could replace that as well. I might just have one of those in my stack of stuff. But I do think I need to clean it. I want to try to I'll put it through the ultrasonic cleaner. But I need to find a new float at the very least. And maybe I'll find out if there's a rebuild kit for this carburetor. I don't know. So that's going to take a little bit of time, do some research online, and maybe order what I need. But we'll get back to it eventually, and this baby, we'll get it back up and running. I'm sure we will. I like to heat the water up first. And we're going to use a little bit of dishwashing liquid. Just a little of that. And a little stir with a 3/4 inch ratchet. All right. And here's our parts. We'll lower them down in the basket. All right, I think we need a little more water. That should be good. A 5-minute cycle. Let's try the lid. And we will go. Well, after a few days hiatus, we're back, and I want to show you the parts that I got for rebuilding this carburetor. I got a new air cleaner because this one looks pretty bad, but it looks a little taller than the other one. Hopefully we'll be able to use it. I got a new float right here, and it came with that gasket. I'm going to leave the part number in the video description for all these parts in case you're working on one of these old Kohlers as well. Here's the carburetor rebuild kit, and for some reason they sent me two, which includes the new needle and seat gaskets, hinge pin for the float. So we got more than we need. And then finally I got this carburetor to intake manifold gasket because the other one was torn up. So I'm going to clean up the edge of the this, and it'll go right here. So I'm going to clean this up, and then we'll be ready to put this carburetor back together with the new parts. If you hate that kind of thing, use a video chapter selection to jump ahead. All right? See you soon. Okay, so here's our carburetor, and let's put it together. I have long fingernails. I get a lot of comments from people saying, "It's disgusting, cut your fingernails." I'm a left-handed classical guitar player, so they're particularly long on my left hand. I'm not going to cut them. I like having them long, and I don't think it's necessary to leave any comments about them. Just delete those comments anyway. So put our rubber gasket in, and then I think this guy goes down next. Alright, so here's our float. I got a new pin, needle. Jigsaw puzzle. All right. All right. That's a little closer to level. I like that. Okay. Now I can put these gaskets on. Bowl nut. See, a 1/2 inch. I think that's going to do it. All right, flip it over. Here's our main jet, and I'm going to put them in, and I'm going to screw it all the way down till it seats so I can feel it. Don't torque it down too much. You'll know when it stops. You grab a screwdriver. There, that stopped. Now I'm going to back it off at 1 1/2 turns. 1, 1 1/2. All right. Low speed jet on this side. Same thing. I'll take it until it seats, and then I'm going to back it off 1 full turn. Both of these are easily accessible once this is installed on the engine and running, so we can adjust them as needed. And this one is your idle, low idle speed. I didn't mess with that, so we're not going to change that. Hopefully it's where it should be. And our carburetor's back together. These are mounting bolts. We've got our new gasket, and we'll take it over to the tiller and put it up in place. I cleaned this up pretty well, so we get a good seal there. And you've got to put the linkage on first. Hopefully you remember what hole it came out of. Always good to make a note of that or take a photo. And this is a challenging little section here because it's tough if you got fat fingers. Get one side started, then perhaps you can get the other side started, and just go back and forth alternating till you've got them down, and then try to secure it, snug it with a wrench. And I think these are 7/16, right? Yeah. But you just don't always have a lot of room to turn the wrench. Sometimes a big screwdriver helps. Oh, that's pretty good. So this choke is just manual. Use your hand right there. Choke it to start. Unchoke to run. So I'm going to connect the fuel line. Add some fuel. and then it's the big test, so stay tuned. All right, let's see what happens here. That was something. So that's interesting. It starts but doesn't stay running. And somehow I don't think it's fuel. Wonder if that's ignition related. I'm not sure. That's a little better. Oh, it's a lot better. I think we got the carb adjusted about right. I observed my spark plug wire kind of laying across the top of the throttle lever, so I need to make sure that's out of the way because that's not going to help. There we go. I think we stopped our dripping of the fuel, hopefully. And I think we should put on the air cleaner and make sure it still runs with that, and then take it out and put it to test in the dirt a little bit. Well, all right. I think it's running pretty reliably. I don't have the tine set very deep because I don't really want to tear up my yard reel. I just wanted to test it out a little bit. But yeah, we seem to have been able to tune that carburetor pretty well. I'm happy with that. I didn't put the air cleaner on yet because the new air filter's too thick. I got to get creative there, but I'm out of breath. It was but yeah, it still works after all these many years and decades. And looked like the main thing was, in addition to that spark plug, a new carburetor rebuild and cleaning, and it's back in business with seven horsepower to pull you around the yard. Yeah, it's great. All right, so let's wrap up our video on the 1970s-ish Troy-Bilt tiller, and with the Kohler K161T engine. Why would someone pay to have a machine this old fixed? You probably know the answer to that, because to replace it with a new one would be very expensive. And it doesn't really cost that much to have somebody go over the carburetor for you, give it a once over and do a little maintenance. And even if you did buy a new one, not only would you be spending a lot more money than fixing this one, the new one that you would buy wouldn't last you 50 years, would it, like this one has? So if you got a machine like this, it's a real workhorse and still running, it's worth it to keep it going. Yeah, this little guy's a beast. It really is. So it was fun working on it, and if you watched this whole video, I really thank you for sticking with me. It was a great experience. I got to do something about extending the bolt here on the air cleaner so that new filter can fit in, but that shouldn't be too hard. And I don't think our fuel line is dripping anymore. Maybe it is. If so, maybe we'll have to change that out. But I think we've been here long enough. I want to thank you for watching. Your comments and questions in the discussion below are always appreciated. Thank you. As always, please subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. I really appreciate that. Look in the video description for links to the products that I use in case you are working on something similar to this guy. Remember, like I always like to say, only you can put the do into do it yourself. And I'll see you on the next video.